I've built multiple six-figure businesses over the years as a writer, a coach, and a trainer. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing what happens and what you need to do to get your money beliefs to change in order for you to actually get the results that you want in your business and also in your life. Hi, my name is Amanda Abello. Welcome to Mindful Success Path. On this channel, we help high achievers, high performers, and entrepreneurs get the results that they're looking for without all the extra stress and drama. So if you are looking to achieve more while having less stress and less drama in your life, then this is the place for you. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single video that we have coming out on this channel. And if you would like to take things a step further, I do have a free guide for you. It's my free manifestation guide, which you can find below. In that guide, I talk about the 4-step process that I use to completely rewire my brain from being a completely stressed out entrepreneur who made a lot of money and then lost all the money because she had built a business that wasn't sustainable, single, having all kinds of health issues, and not really living on purpose or living in her dreams, to now being engaged to get married, running brands and businesses that run a lot more like on autopilot instead of so much hustle and grind, and not only traveling often, but living out one of my dreams of living in other countries. I currently spend most of my time in Mexico. So if that's something that you're interested in, the free manifestation guide is below. It'll teach you how I completely rewired all of this to get these types of results in about 18 months. And one of the big things that comes up for people is rewiring their beliefs around money. Now, this has been inspired by a few things. So number one, I was a financial writer for 8 years. I've known for a long time that when it comes to money, people are just mentally jacked up. And there's lots of reasons for it. Mostly it's the conditioning that we've had in society. The other reason why this is coming up is because I was training our clients in our Effortless Revenue Mastermind program, where we help you take your business to constant hustle and grind and stress to something that runs more on autopilot with more ease and more flow. And I started noticing that when I started helping them shift a lot of their beliefs about money, they started getting results a lot more quickly. And finally, my fiance and I run another brand called Entrepreneur Expat. And that YouTube channel has grown so quickly, and we've had so many conversations with people. That channel actually made us 6 figures in contract sales in about 90 days. That's how fast it's growing. And we're having lots of conversations with people over on that channel, and we're noticing, and on that channel, it's half of them are not entrepreneurs, right? So half of them still have regular jobs, half of them are still in more traditional employment, and we're realizing just how stuck people are and are feeling, especially when it comes to money. So the common denominator of all of these things is that if you want to get results, whether it's in your business, whether it's at your job, whether you need to change your fundamental beliefs about money. And human beings do some weird stuff. So we had a situation recently where somebody was very interested in joining one of our training programs. They really want to learn how to run an online business so that they can go live in other countries like we're doing right now. And there's this really fascinating thing that happens that human beings do. And again, this happens more with the non-entrepreneurs than the entrepreneurs, but it's a pretty good example of what humans tend to do when it comes to money. And they literally spend more time writing emails, questioning themselves, going back and forth, asking 15 people who don't live the way that they want to live what they should do, all these nonsensical behaviors, really. They spend more time doing that than actually doing the work to get the result that they're trying to do. And the main culprit behind it is they're terrified of parting with money. Because for the person still at a job, at a traditional job, they've been conditioned into trading time for money. They've been conditioned to clocking in and clocking out. Most of them, unless they were in sales or unless they were managing other people or somehow their pay was tied to their performance, like it is for entrepreneurs, have no idea how capable they are of making money and have no idea how to actually really make it either. And again, it's their conditioning. So what happens is you come up on a situation and you start saying things like, yeah, I really want to run my own business. I really want to do my own thing so I can travel all over the world. And then the opportunity shows up for you to be able to do that. And because you're so terrified of parting with money, because you have no idea how to actually relate to money, because of how you've been conditioned and what you've been brought into up until now, then you end up shooting yourself in the foot and spending more time stressing out about things you shouldn't be stressing out about, rather than just doing the work to get the result that you say that you want to do. And the thing is that human beings do this all the freaking time, especially when it comes to money. So let's talk about how to change our beliefs around money. And this is so important, guys, because one of the things that you realize, and I'll just be very transparent here, I actually understand more about money now and how to relate to it. And when I've been in the process of rebuilding everything I've lost, there's this very interesting thing that happens, and I've seen this pattern happen with people who've been very successful and then lost everything and had to start over. Hi, me. I've seen this pattern, and that pattern is you go from everything being about money and hustling for money and putting, the pursuit of money and security above everything else. You realize it's nonsense. You lose all of it. And you realize that you never really understood money to begin with. And that's exactly what's happened to me. And one of the big shifts that's happened in my life is I have gone from thinking, oh my gosh, in order for me to make money, then I have to, literally run myself into the ground. I was literally looking at a to-do list the other day of all the things that I used to do in order to get sales calls booked in my business. It was a list of like 20 things. And now all I have to do is YouTube. That's it. That's all I have to do. And that required a huge shift in belief in money. I had to shift from, oh my gosh, I have to hustle and grind and do 25 different things in order to get this result, to no, I can build something that's more scalable. I can build something that's more pleasurable. I can build something that's more in alignment with my feminine energy, so I don't have to run myself into the ground, and I can really use my gifts and my talents and spend most of my time there. Another limiting belief that I had that had a lot to do with money is I'm not supported. This is also a very common one, especially for successful people. I'm not supported. I'm not properly supported. People don't get me. They don't show up for me, yada, 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 so on and so forth. And that's one that I had to rewire. And when I rewired that one, my fiance showed up. And you might be thinking, well, what does that have to do with money? And I'm like, well, kind of everything, because he's much better at scaling and operations and basically all the things that I suck at. He's much better at it. And not only that, he helped me find where I had a bunch of leaks and holes in the business previously, where money was just going out the door and I wasn't even realizing. He helped me realize that, or he helped me refinance debt. He knew how to do those things. I didn't necessarily know how to do those things. I was really good at bringing in money, but I wasn't necessarily good at all the other things that come with it. So I had to rewire my mind. In this case, I'm not supported. Everything falls on me. I'm on my own, blah, 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 being a bitter Betty, to I am supported. I didn't say necessarily by other humans. I'm like, if anything, I'm supported by God. I'm supported by the one upstairs. And like I said, my fiance showed up and he really started helping me get a lot of my finances in order in the areas where I needed help doing that. Or another one that has come up for me is around the lines of, this is a funny one, oh, I need all this money in order to be able to go live and work in other countries. It's nonsense, right? I thought I needed this super complicated business because, again, that's what us human beings do. We spend so much time being distracted by our own fears and insecurities and worries about money that we actually end up overcomplicating everything and then making it more difficult to go make money or go pursue the things that we want to pursue, when in reality it wasn't that difficult to begin with. In fact, what I had to do was simplify my business and simplify my life in order to be able to more easily pack up my stuff and go wherever I want. So that was another limiting belief that I have. Really common ones that we see with clients is making money needs to be hard. This is also perpetuated by hustle and grind culture. on YouTube that perpetuates this idea that you must sacrifice everything in the pursuit of financial success. And let me tell you, as somebody who did it and then lost everything, not worth it. Not worth it at all. Another one is you can't have it all. That's very common. This is one that I've definitely struggled with. This is one I have to work through, which is, a lot of people think there's like an either or. There's a lot of either or thinking in the world. We'll see it in the comments on YouTube, particularly on the Entrepreneur Expat channel, where they're not typically having conversations like the one that we're having right now, at least not in their daily lives. And one of the things is people have this either or kind of thinking. It's either I have love or I have money. I can't have both. That's a very common one for people. Or we had this crazy comment come in on Entrepreneur Expat that was basically like, oh, you guys are going to be able to, you guys chose to have a lifestyle business or lifestyle businesses. So you're going to be able to relax a lot more and travel a lot more, but you're never really going to be wealthy. And I thought this was a really interesting comment because number one, they never defined what wealthy actually was. So that's number one. Actually, it's quite a lot of definitions depending on who you're talking to. And number two is this very black and white either or thinking because of course, that person's probably never been exposed to anybody who has lifestyle businesses and is actually wealthy. That's the reality of what that comment actually means. Whereas I have been exposed to people who've done that. And also wealth isn't necessarily built by lifestyle businesses. It's built by investments. So in that portion, then maybe they have a point, but it's such a limited view of wealth and such a limited view of money and such a limited worldview of what it is that you can actually have and achieve and have in life. Another area where limiting beliefs happen is debt. Oh my gosh, I've really struggled with this one. So I'm just going to be extremely transparent right now. Debt. We make debt mean a lot of things that it does not actually mean. We look at debt and we make it mean that we are unworthy. We look at debt and we make it mean that we're frauds. We look at debt and we make it mean that we're never going to succeed financially. And then we just focus on the debt, focus on the debt, focus on the debt, focus on the debt. And then you know what happens? You get more debt. When you stop focusing so much on the debt, and I've had this experience in the past, when you stop focusing so much on the debt and start focusing on making more money, the debt kind of disappears because it's a math problem. So that's number one. Or number two, let's say I was in a situation where I had a debt on a contract and I just wasn't in that business anymore. So I was like, I got to get out of this contract. And I had no idea how I was going to be able to do it. The collections letters were coming in, all that kind of stuff. And again, the support that came in was like, well, why did you just send an email and explain that you're not in this business anymore and see what happens? So that's what I did. And boom, got rid of the debt. But the thing is that we make so much emotional drama out of the things going on in our lives that we don't realize that in order to get rid of a debt, maybe all you need to do is send an email because we're so wrapped up in the drama. So how do we actually start changing these money beliefs? How do we actually start having a far more empowering relationship with money? How do we have money beliefs that actually help us move forward in what it is that we're actually trying to do? Now, as a former personal finance writer, most people would probably tell you, set up a budget, right? Pay off high interest credit cards, the typical stuff which has its value. But if you don't change what's going on the inside and how you view money, none of that stuff is going to matter anyway. You're just going to end up in the exact same situation. So what do we actually do? What we actually do is we have to determine what these limiting beliefs about money actually are. I already said what many of mine were. And then the question becomes, okay, well, how do we do that? And more importantly, how do we do that in the moment? How do we do that when we're feeling it? Because as A Course in Miracles says, a miracle is a shift in perception. So when you can catch yourself in the moment of, let's call it anxiety, or the moment of survival mode is what I'm going to call it. When you catch yourself in that moment and you're able to shift your perception in that moment, that's the miracle. You changed your mind. And that's where the real freedom actually lies. It's not in actually paying off the debt. The freedom lies in changing your mind about how you feel about the debt so you can get the answer to pay off the debt. That's what the freedom actually is. Because there could be all kinds of insanity going on around you, but if you're free in the mind, you are still free. And that's kind of what we're going for here. And in addition to that, you can actually change your brain and you can actually rewire it. The problem is that so many of us have these really deep grooves in our brains about how hard money is and how scarce it is and our survival and all those things. I have immigrant parents. I heard it all the time. This is one of the biggest things that I struggle with is lack mentality and money. And that's why I've become such a good teacher at it, because I've had to look at my own stuff and go through my own stuff and figure out how to start getting out of it. So how do we have those miracle moments? The way that we have those miracle moments is to start becoming very self-aware of when we are out of alignment, when we are going into survival mode, when we're feeling anxious about money. And what most people do is they just stay in the loop. So they feel anxious about the money and then they just sabotage all the live long day or never find the answers that they're looking for. Here's an example of how people do that. They feel anxious because they don't have enough money, and then they start focusing on how they don't have enough money, and then they start going into, okay, well now I have to hustle and grind in order to make money, and then they still don't make any money because they're hustling and grinding on all the wrong stuff, usually, because they can't see the forest from the trees because they're in such a hyper emotional state. So we have to figure out when we're in those emotional states, when we're out of alignment, when we're in fear, when we're in survival mode, when we're in anxiety, and pause. And when we take that pause, that is probably the most powerful pause you could ever do, because you're starting to distance yourself and you're starting to realize, wait a minute, I am not these thoughts. I am not these emotions. They're actually separate from me. I can separate myself from these thoughts and emotions that are, quite frankly, causing results that I don't want in my life. So that's step number one. Then we have to backtrack it. Backtrack it to, okay, if we know that emotions are being created by thoughts, which is basic psychology, what thoughts am I having that are creating these emotions? Oh, I got a bill and it really triggered me and it stressed me out. Oh, I have debt right now and I don't know how I'm going to get rid of it. I'm at a job where I'm working 12 hours a day and I really want to go start my own business and I have no idea how I'm going to be able to do it. On top of that, my wife has like 3 jobs just to be able to pay the bills. We hear that on Entrepreneur Expat all the time. It might be like, oh my gosh, I'm having this problem with a client and now I'm scared that they're going to do all this stuff and ba 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 ba. So those are the thoughts. Then we have to go back to what's the belief. It could be different for everybody. In this case, let's just use the example of making money needs to be hard. That's a really common one, so we'll just use that one. Okay, so all those thoughts and all those emotions are being caused by making money needs to be hard. And then you start to realize, oh, well, I'm making it hard by having all these crazy thoughts and emotions that aren't actually getting me to where I want to go. So then we have to switch the belief, and the belief is making money is easy. And then you find evidence about how easy it is to actually make money or how easy it has been in your life. We did this recently with a client in our Effortless Revenue Mastermind. And she's in a very fortunate position where she has a job that's paying her a good chunk of money, and the job is easy, or at least easy for her. So it gives her all the time to actually go work on her business, which is what she actually wants to do. And she's like, yeah, I just have this limiting belief that making money is hard and it has to be hard. And I said, well, what's the new belief? Okay, making money is easy. What evidence do you have? Well, I really don't know. And I'm like, how about the fact that you're literally on your employer's time sitting on this call because your job is so easy to you and they pay you for something super easy? And she's like, oh yeah, well, I guess I never thought about it that way. And then we just kept looking for more and more and more evidence. And she came back later and she said, that's actually probably some of the most powerful work that I've done in Effortless Revenue Mastermind, is just starting to switch my brain and realize where I'm getting in these loops, realizing what limiting beliefs are keeping me stuck in business, or quite frankly, any area of your life. You can apply it to any area, and really starting to rewire those things so I can get different results. So if you do this exercise, you will undoubtedly change your money beliefs 100%. It may not be immediately, it may not be tomorrow, but it's in the moment. And those little moments add up. And every time you have those miracle moments, you open up a bunch of other timelines and a bunch of other infinite possibilities and infinite opportunities about how to get your particular money problem solved. But that only comes when we're able to get out of survival mode, and then we're able to see what's actually going on, to retrain the brain, and then open up the infinite possibilities that are already around us, and we just haven't been able to see them because we've been stuck in that survival mode because we haven't done this work on our money beliefs. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Mindful Success Path. If you did, drop us a comment below. What are some of your money beliefs that you're working through right now? Let's encourage each other to help each other change these things, because when we're able to do this, we will change the economic circumstances on the planet for good. But it has to start with us as individuals. So leave that below. Also, like this video. It helps us with the algorithm gods. And make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single video that we have coming out on this channel. Thank you so much for giving me your time today, and I'll catch you on the next one.